You know, for thousands of years, entire civilizations have been, well, they've been locked away. All their stories, their knowledge, their daily lives, it's all been trapped behind this wall of symbols that nobody could read. Today, we're going to look at how artificial intelligence is becoming the master key to finally unlocking those lost worlds and letting us hear what they have to say.
You can almost feel the weight of that, right? A clay tablet with marks someone carved into it thousands of years ago. It's a direct line to a human mind from the deep past. But if you can't read it, that connection is just gone. It's like a message in a bottle that's finally washed ashore, only to find out the language is from a whole other world.
And that's exactly what they are. For centuries, historians and linguists have been playing detective, just hunting for clues, for any little scrap of evidence that could crack the code. But for so many of these ancient scripts, the trail has gone completely cold. I mean, the witnesses are long gone, and the evidence has literally been worn away by time.
So, here's how we're going to follow the investigation in this explainer. We'll start with the problem itself, then we'll meet the new high-tech detective on the scene. We'll look at a major breakthrough and see how it is literally rewriting history books. Then we'll look to the future, the final frontiers, and what it all means to finally hear these ancient echoes getting louder.
So, how in the world does an AI solve a mystery that has stumped human experts for centuries? Well, it's all about looking at the problem in a completely new way.
Okay, so the old way, it really relied on just incredible luck. Finding something like the Rosetta Stone, which had the exact same text in a language we knew and one we didn't. It's a fantastic key, but you can't just wait around for one of those to show up. The new way? It doesn't need that. Instead, the AI acts like a master statistician, analyzing huge amounts of text to find hidden patterns and connections.
And the magic behind all this? It's something called a deep neural network. The key thing to remember is that it's an architecture inspired by our own brains. It learns by spotting these incredibly complex patterns, just like we do, but it does it on a scale that is just physically impossible for a human mind.
And this, right here, is such a cool way to think about it. The AI doesn't see individual words. It plots the relationships between all the words in a language. You know, how often does king show up in your palace? What's the connection between river and boat? It builds this complex, multi-dimensional map, a unique shape for that language. To crack a lost language, it just finds a known language that has a similar shape and uses that geometry as its key.
Okay, so that's the theory. But let's get into a real-world example that shows just how powerful this is. We're going to look at a specific AI model called Ithaca, which is a massive leap forward in cracking these kinds of historical cases.
Meet Ithaca. This model was built specifically for the tricky business of ancient Greek texts. And the name is just perfect. It's named after the island Odysseus spent a decade trying to get back to in the Odyssey, which is a beautiful metaphor for this long journey to bring the meaning of these lost texts back home to us.
And to get that good, to really learn the shape of ancient Greek, Ithaca was fed a huge data set, nearly 80,000 known inscriptions. It basically absorbed this massive library to understand all the subtle patterns of the language, its different dialects, and how it changed over hundreds of years.
And Ithaca isn't just a one-trick pony. It's like a detective with a whole toolkit. First, it can restore damaged texts, actually predicting the missing characters on a broken piece of stone. Second, it can tell you where in the ancient world that text probably came from. And third, it can put a date on it with incredible precision.
So, okay, the big question. Does it actually work? Well, this is where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. When historians tried to restore these damaged texts on their own, they were accurate about 25% of the time. Not bad. But when those same historians used Ithaca as a tool, their accuracy shot up to 72%.
And this is the most important part, right? This isn't about AI replacing historians. It's about creating a powerful partnership. The researchers themselves called it a synergistic effect. The machine handles the massive data crunching, and the human expert provides the context, the nuance, the critical thinking. Together, they can do something that neither one could ever do alone.
So, we can read old texts better. Great. But why does that really matter? What does it actually change? Well, it changes who we get to hear from. It changes the very story of history that we've been told.
Think about it. For so long, the history we've learned has been all about the big stuff, the epic poems, the decrees of kings, the stories of major wars. That's what was considered important enough to preserve. But the AI can sift through thousands of tiny, broken texts at once and piece together the boring stuff, grocery lists, property arguments, records of daily life. For the first time, we're not just hearing the official history, we're hearing the real, everyday voices of the people who actually lived.
Let me give you a perfect example. In the ancient city of Delphi, there are over 1,000 inscriptions about the release of slaves. It was called manumission. By analyzing the language patterns across all of these records, Ithaca is helping us uncover the legal and social reality of what freedom actually meant for people who are otherwise completely silent in the historical record.
And what's really wild is that AI isn't just adding new stories, it's actually correcting old ones. For decades, a super important Athenian decree was dated to 458 BC, based on the shape of a single letter. Later on, new evidence called that into question, but the debate just kept going. Well, Ithaca analyzed the whole text against its huge database and confirmed the later date, 418 BC. That's a 40-year shift that forces historians to totally rethink a critical period of Athenian democracy.
Okay, so the success with ancient Greek, that's just the start. The exact same techniques are now being pointed at the biggest linguistic cold cases in all of history.
And really the holy grail, the one everyone wants to crack, is the Indus Valley Script. We're talking about a vast, sophisticated civilization that was thriving 4,000 years ago, and we can't read a single word they wrote. Could an AI like Ithaca finally be the key that breaks that silence?
So how would you even do that? Well, the next generation of this AI has to be even smarter. It won't just look at text, it's going to have to be multimodal, meaning it combines the script itself with geographic data on where artifacts were found, and even images of the pottery and seals, to find patterns across all these different kinds of information at the same time.
So when you put all of this together, it leads to a pretty profound idea. We aren't just translating words on a page. We are resurrecting entire worlds. We're building a bridge across this immense gap of time.
Because that's what's really at stake here. Every single lost language represents a completely unique way of seeing the world, a whole collection of stories and ideas and beliefs. When they go silent, a piece of our shared human story is just lost forever.
And that's what this tech is really doing. It's acting like a digital bridge. It uses the cold, hard logic of algorithms to do something amazing, an act of incredible cultural restoration. It's reaching across thousands of years to give these lost civilizations their voice back. The voices from the past are no longer silent. They're just waiting for the right algorithm to finally hear them.
So I'll leave you with this thought. With tools like these, we're getting closer than ever before to being able to, well, to read the minds of the past. So if you could listen to one of those voices, a Roman merchant, an Egyptian priest, an Indus Valley artisan, who would you choose and what's the one thing you would want to ask them?